What's going on? Here's your boy, Keeping Mike. You listen to the podcast, Ruckus Podcast, in combination with 102.9 Tape Deck. And tonight I got a special guest tonight. I was trying to have her in for Black History Month, but it got too full, so I decided to have her Women's History Month, which is perfect because she's a woman and she's black. We go way back at the time. I consider her like sis, family. She pretty much taught me a lot in this media game, from television, from radio, even like, I could say we probably did a couple of podcasts without even knowing it was podcasts. Um, she's a boss, entrepreneur. She does real estate, she does media. We got a show, Boss Lady News. Uh, I just get so much game from her. She taught me how to build my credit up.
Hmm.
I mean, she strives for Black excellence. She's a pillar to the community, and I could go on and on and on and on. Damn near could give her a biography of her life. I get a chance to with the longest introduction I could give her. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Brit Johnson, aka Boss Lady. What's going on, boss?
Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? You
I
and
could
Mike.
say this. I could say this is like long overdue. I was trying to have you here for forever, but I know we got hectic schedules. You got a lot going on. I got a lot going on, but thank you for taking time from your busy schedule to linking up with Big Bro here.
Well, thank you for having me on. I've been asking, when are you going to have me on the show? So
Yes, and it's perfect. So I decided you're the first woman from March.
there
So
we
thank you.
go.
Now this is very interesting because every time we do the show, you're the one that's asking the questions. You're the one that does the good. Like you, it's like you got like the Oprah aura in you when you get to nitty gritty asking questions. So now it's like my turn. So I'm gonna take charge and um, be the guy in the forefront, and I get to ask you questions because I actually want to know what the hell is your story, Britt? What is the story of
Oh
your
my
life?
goodness. What
You don't have to
is
get too
my
personal, but just like
story? Oh,
the beginning of the boss lady.
yeah. So again, it's different because normally I'm on the other side of the camera in terms of
Yes.
asking questions. Um, but yeah, I'm always up for it. People want to know about what kind of sparked my drive, whether it be in TV production or if it be in real estate or financial education, right? And really, it's just, I don't know, things just kind of like fall from the tree and bonk me on the head. And then I end up doing it. So, if we're talking about way back, I've always been in the entertainment industry, in terms of whether I was doing like child modeling or if I was doing commercials, even doing like fashion shows and different things like that. And actually, the way that we met was because Mav was doing one of my events and you came through and we got a chance to link and meet, and that's how we even got introduced, was through an event. So I've always been doing different events and always been a part of um, community outreach events and highlighting the community and just continuing that with Boss Lady News so that I could provide a platform for people in the media, right? Mainstream media doesn't actually tell the positive stories that happen in our communities. It doesn't talk about the Black History Month events. It doesn't talk about the marches that are happening, the Juneteenth march. It doesn't talk about the women's events that are going on throughout the area. So I'm just really excited to be able to provide a platform for people that does cover what's going on in the community. So Boss Lady News highlights businesses, highlights nonprofits, highlights events, and highlights real estate. And so, kind of just bouncing into real estate and how I got into that. Well, I grew up with my grandparents, and they owned a property. And when they passed away, that property, we ended up having to sell because it went into probate court. And I made the last mortgage payment on that property. So I'm really proud of having been a um, assisting with home ownership back then, and I didn't even know what I was doing. I was like 22 years old, and all I knew was, the benefit that was coming out of the sale, which was the equity that was passed down to our family. So that's just been like one purpose or one reason that kind of drives me back to why I want more people in real estate, why I want more people to understand financial habits and financial education. Because, like, really, outside of my grandparents, I didn't know what home ownership was or what the value of being a property owner was. And I think it's something that should be taught. I think real estate should be a industry that you can go to school for, from high school, from college. I think that should be something that is an option that you can learn how to do. You can learn to be a doctor. Why can't you go to college and learn to be a real estate agent? And, it really does help communities build their wealth. So, I've been a stickler, even with you, Cuban Mike, talking about, what are you doing with your credit? How are you building your credit? What are some of the tips and tricks that people could use start a business? And I know I be harassing my bro about what's going on with his finances, but I know finances is really like a kind of hit or miss conversation. Some people are willing to have that conversation, and some people are not. And I think it's important that we probably have more of these conversations, because you've got closed door events that happen and these major corporate entities that have these conversations, and they are talking about money. They're talking about how much money their business has net. They're talking about what their um, net worth is. And I think these are conversations we should be comfortable with. So, Boss Lady News covers businesses and encourages businesses to level up themselves. And then, additionally, I cover events going on, and then I cover real estate.
That is so
I feel
freaking
like I've been
awesome.
talking a lot.
No. That's what I mean. Because my thing is, I ask the question and I let the guests just rock. Because I know people, when they talk, that I try to cut them off against the beat. So my thing is ask the question and let them rock. So that's one of the things I learned from you. You ask the question and just fall back. Varsity News. How did that started? How did
Oh,
Varsity News?
wow. Wow. So you remember when like YouTube first got popular, right? When everyone wanted to start like little YouTube shows and stuff like that. So I was actually just leaving or moving out of the South End. I used to live in the Ville Victoria, and I moved into Roxbury. And while I was in Roxbury, I decided I'm going to start a YouTube show. So it started off as Brit's Black Reality. That's actually how it started off. And I think if you YouTube Brit's Black Reality, you might find a couple videos still. I don't know if I ever took them down.
I gotta find those
But
shits. I gotta find that.
right. But one day I'm walking down the street, and I was going up into Eggleston, and I swear angels be talking to me every once in a while. But an angel came and like whispered in my ear and told me to go into that building. And at the time, I was walking by Boston Neighborhood Network, which is the local access TV. So I listened to the angel. Again, I believe it was an angel. I don't know who the person was. I don't know why some random person walking by would tell me to go into that building. But I did. And when I went in, I was like, hey, so what are you guys doing here? And she's like, well, we are local TV and we train producers and we train people how to go out and host their own shows. And I'm like, okay, this is exactly what I need to go to the next level of my YouTube channel. And that was to be able to actually have a production studio. So I went in, I became a member. I learned with Barbara Barrow Murray. That was my hosting and in studio production um, teacher. And then that's where Boss Lady News actually organically was born. And that was probably, oh wow, I did hit my 10 year. So that was around uh, what is that, 2013? Around 2012,
It was
2013?
2012. So that means so that was that like they were with you when you started it? Like how far?
No. How far before you started coming in, right?
Yeah, because I want to say it was like
Yes.
around 2011, 2011, 2012.
Oh no, it was so I hit my 10 year as of 2020. Because I
Oh,
called and was just like, how long have I been a member here? I just wanted to know. And it
yeah,
turned out I had hit my 10 year. So maybe it's been so maybe around no, because when I first started, I didn't actually have a regularly scheduled topic. And then you became Cuban Mike trending topics,
yeah,
and you were coming on a regular basis to just talk about, what's going on in the celebrity world, what's going on in the main trending topics out there. You would bring that on. So, no, I would say around 2013, maybe 2014, because I'm thinking about like how old was my oldest at the time. So she was
yeah.
probably around 14.
All right. It's been a good minute. So yeah. Well,
It
happy
has.
anniversary.
It's been more than 10 years.
It's been more than 10. I want to say more than 10 because I remember I had my Lexus when I was flossing back in the day. So I remember I was driving that big truck Lexus right there, flossing. But
You
yes,
had
I
that
would say
ish,
that.
huh?
And now I'm going back now. I remember when we met. It wasn't an event, it was Mav's music video in New Hampshire.
Was it the music video?
Yeah, I think it was like his
I
first or
remember that.
second music video. And I was just like heckling the models.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember the music video.
Yeah.
And what's so awesome about Boston is Boston really is small, although you're from Lawrence.
Yeah. But I take the trip. I take the trip. So you can even.
You
I
did.
always take the trip.
But it's just awesome that so many people that are in the entertainment industry in Boston, we connect with each other.
Yes.
So whether it had been like, Mav was there, we recognize some of the models that were there. We recognize the dancers, Smalley Michelle, dance hall queen. She
Smalley.
was
Shout out to
there.
Smalley.
Yeah, so even like, gosh, we've known each other for so long.
Daniel
And just
Loren.
to really
Daniel Loren was
see,
up. Daniel Loren.
mhm,
He always show love.
yeah, and just to see like everyone moving into their next phases is just dope to see. You and your radio show, it's
Yeah.
like this is
Yeah.
definitely a long time coming, but I'm glad you
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah, you were on me for a good minute to go do it, and I did
Yeah,
it, and now I'm giving Brett a headache every Friday with my damn player.
that's right, as you should,
I give him a headache like Jesus, like I hope I don't get him in trouble with the FCC. I keep
as
him
you
on his
should.
toes.
Yeah, as you should, 100%. It's just I think it's dope that you did do it because so many people that I will be around, I encourage them to do stuff, and it's things they're already doing. Like you were already bringing trending topics,
Yeah, yeah.
so it just made sense for you to have your own show also.
Yeah, and you got me off the shelf. You always got me off that shelf because I was always just comfortable doing the trendy topic. And I remember when we did the podcast slash radio at the other station, you were just on me like, yo, you should just really do it. And like you actually got the voice for it. And like
Yep.
it's funny because everybody who does radio, they always say the same thing. Like I hate my voice at the radio. Like even Matt, he didn't like his voice when he first heard himself. And even I, when I heard myself, like I sound like this. But then after like a couple of weeks, you get comfortable.
Right.
You
I think I
get
sound like a
comfortable, and then when people
mouse.
start complimenting your voice, I'm like, oh, I can do this. I can do
Right.
it.
Then they recognize your voice too.
Yes. But the funny thing
Hmm.
about it, they actually recognize me from Boston News. That's the thing.
You know,
I get more recognition from Boston News and that damn PSA commercial that I played the teacher.
yes. Yo, that PSA is awesome. We need to make some more. I got another idea for PSA coming down the
Oh, please,
pipeline.
I gotta find that damn clip.
If you Google, and this is YouTube, if you YouTube um the importance of reading, if you
No,
YouTube
I'll find it.
importance of reading, you will find it. You got to scroll through because it was like years ago. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
actually had to find it because I wanted to do another PSA and I had to show somebody like what my ideas behind the PSA were from before.
Yeah.
And yeah, we took over the library.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
We got
But it
some
was funny though
stage.
because I went to what was it that it was so random. I went to the pizza spot near the station. That pizza spot that's near the little fork thing. And I
Yeah.
went to like I went to get pizza, my typical thing or whatever. And these kids stopped me. Like, yo, you look familiar. Did you do like a teacher thing, like in some channel? I'm like, yeah, that's me. Like, oh, like you look cool in that suit. You look younger. I'm like, thanks. I'm like, I'm
Like, yeah,
known.
that was years ago.
Oh, that was years
That's
ago.
right.
That was years ago. Yeah, guys, I still
Hmm.
had the clean cut.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was all you.
Good
Yeah, that was
times.
dope.
Good times. Good times. Other questions. So I know you've done, I mean, yeah, I know that, but I want to tell the audience you've done things like in the music industry as far as like dealing with, artists, even actors, musicians, artists, et cetera, how difficult like being a woman in that game try to show the fellas because I know that's a dominated male thing out there. How difficult is it being a woman trying to prove to fellas that you could like not only keep up with them, but I'm actually better than you in this thing?
Yeah, it's difficult to be a woman in the entertainment industry and not be seen as like a groupie,
Mm-hmm.
right? So typically, I struggle with making sure that I present myself the right way, making sure that I know my business, making sure that whatever information or advice that I might be sending them or talking to them about is is good, right?
Yeah,
So I've worked with concerts in Brockton where we had salt and pepper, and it was really cool because I was telling Salt and Pepper, hey, this is what I need you to do. I need you to go over here. We're going to do a quick interview with you, and then you're going to go on stage. And even working with people who are in the industry and they are females and they have to work with another female, recognizing that I'm not here to be your groupie and I just need to make sure that this job gets done because whatever we're doing tonight, if it's an event, if it's a concert, if it's like maybe they are hosting something for us, it really is work. And I'm here to just make sure that something gets done. So, it's a challenge. I've been called, I don't know if I can swear on this, can I?
yeah, it's a podcast. Fuck it, it's a fucking podcast.
Okay. I've been called a passive aggressive bitch because because like I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? I don't feel like I need to get riled up to prove a point if you don't agree with something I'm saying or that I'm advising you to do and you don't want to do it. It's just like, okay, no
Yeah,
problem. I can get somebody else to do it or you cannot do it, but we're still going to do it my way. So I've been called like passive aggressive bitch because I don't have time. I don't have the energy to argue with somebody in the industry that thinks that because they might be more hood than me or because they're male, that I need to argue with them. And no, this is business. You're not going to step into a clothing store or step into a luxury shoe store or step into a jewelry place and argue with the person working there.
yeah,
At the end of the day, you don't have to make the sale. And when
yeah.
it comes to me, at the end of the day, if you don't trust what I'm saying, don't work with me.
So with that being said, are you forced to be extra bitchy? Does that are you forced to be? Like, I know you don't want
I'm
to
not,
be, but are you forced to be at times?
it's not so much being forced to be extra bitchy. It's more like when you're in the moment of things, and you might have experienced this also. Um, they say that like people like Beyonce, they have split personalities. But really, when you're going into stage mode or you're going into entertainment mode, you become more direct. You become more professional. You become more like like bitchy because you're in a zone
Mm-hmm.
and you know what your vision is. And when you're in that zone and you know what your vision is, it's like anybody around you trying to trying to change your vision in any way, shape, or form is kind of like, nah, that ain't it. This is what we're doing. Don't ask me questions. No, I need you to stand over there. This is how this is supposed to happen. Don't change anything because I have a vision. So it really is almost like you have this split personality that changes because once that camera's on, like the camera's on.
Yeah.
so,
So,
so I just think it's more of like you get more focused.
so with that also being said, how difficult is it with the women? Because I know women get being catty. Because being a woman, being a boss lady, I know it gets difficult because you got to deal with the men. Because men got their ego and they got that thing that they don't want a woman telling them what to do, especially if they got boss mentality. But then you also got the females that they also want to be catty and they also want to be either the boss or they even got bitchy attitude amongst each other that they could be some sort of like animosity or hatred or fake love or that key and then like they turn around and be like that.
Oh, that fake love is real. That
Yeah.
fake love, that fake love is real. Um, Even then, it's just really like this isn't your show, like this isn't your time. You're not on stage. This ain't your 5 seconds of fame.
Mhm.
This is you're here to be a part of something that already exists. And it's you kind of being the amplified version of you. And people can see that, even females can see that, and they can see it intimidating. Guys can see it as intimidating when it's like, oh, you think yes, I know. Like you're literally here because of me and I invited you and I wanted you to be on. Or if it's an event, it's like, no, everything that's been organized before you came is organized. Got a well-oiled machine right here. Don't need you screwing anything up. So just follow the plan. Stick to the script, as they say, and we won't have no issues because I've been to events where I've seen people get cut because they wore something that they weren't supposed to wear.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh.
100%. Like I've seen people literally say to somebody at a concert, supposed to be an extra backup singer,
Yeah.
you're not wearing the right thing. You can't be on stage.
Ah.
And whenever I seen that, just to know that it's that serious, right? So there's YouTube videos of concerts with Destiny's Child where Beyonce will get so in the zone of of being focused and what's supposed to happen that she doesn't even notice if one of the other members falls. So I guess there's this video where the Destiny's Child was performing on stage and she's singing, she's performing, and I think Michelle fell.
I remember that
And
video.
she,
It went viral. Yes.
yeah, and she kind of just looked at her and kept it moving
Yeah.
because it's like, what am I supposed to do right now? Like,
Yeah.
cut the whole show, stop everything, pick you up. I mean, yeah, she could have helped her back up, but I mean,
No, the show must go on.
the show must go on. So it really is just, when you got to boss up, you got to boss up. Being a CEO executive of a major corporation, people are going to challenge what you want to do and what you have to say. And you just have to stick to your guns. And whoever doesn't like it, that's their fucking problem. Just is what it is.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
Okay, quick question. I never got a chance to ask you this question. In our Into With the show, there's a clip of you interviewing Terrace Howard. How the fuck did that happen? How did that end up?
Yeah, so I am very social and I like to network and connect with people. And actually interviewing Terrence Howard was very interesting to say the least. Like actors on a certain level are very eclectic, like the way that their thoughts and how they think. And I had to cut most of my interview with him because
Really?
it was just like he's going all the way left and started talking about voting and everything else. And I'm like, I wanted to keep in a portion of it, but at the same time, it was just like he really is on one right now. Like I just asked him about being an actor and inspiring words, and the next thing I know, he was talking about politics. And one thing people know about Boss Lady News, I don't do politics. I will encourage different things going on in the community, but I don't do politics. So, how did I meet? How did that happen? So basically, at RCC Media Arts Center, which is actually curated by Emerson, I had to connect with Emerson, and they were like, "Hey, Terrace Howard is actually going to be honored at the theater, so it might be a good idea for them to have some type of media support." And for anybody out there that's watching, please consider local media for covering your events. That's what we're here for. We're here to provide you a platform. So reach out to Boss Lady News, reach out to Cuban Mike, reach out to the Tape Deck, put funds into advertising with your local media, because we're going to provide a platform. Right. We're going to provide a platform that other people are not really giving you. So someone reached out to me from Emerson, and they were just like, "Hey, it would probably be a good idea for you to come through, cover him getting awarded, do like a little interview with him." And I'm like, fuck yeah. Terrace Howard, okay, let's do this. And I was patient and first introduced myself, because he had a little gopher running around also. Introduced myself to that person too, so it wasn't like, "Who are you?" and get security. So so after he recognized my face once before when I introduced myself, then when I had a moment to kind of catch him after he had gotten his ceremony, I was like, "Hey, do you mind if I just ask you a quick question about being a person of color in the acting world, and what are your thoughts and your take on that?" So that's really how that happened. It just was coincidence that someone in my network was like, "Hey, we think they should use some media exposure, and Boss Lady News come through."
Yeah. You know what? I gotta give a shout out to Emerson. I didn't tell you this, but I ended up finding a connection there, and I did an interview with Melly Mel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got an interview with Melly Mel, and he you know how he's I don't know if you know what happened with him right now, but he's trending right now.
What is he trending for? You trending topics, bro. You really
okay, so I'm about to give you Boss Lady News trending topics of the fucking Ruckus podcast. Okay, so he went viral this weekend because they what happened? It was Billboard or Vibe magazine, one of those things. They had the top 50 MCs or whatever. No, it was Vibe magazine. They had the top 50 MCs, and they voted Eminem as number one.
Oh.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, even with Billboard, it was on their magazine, they voted Jay-Z. Whoever's gonna be number one in the hip hop thing is always gonna be a motherload of controversies. You know what I mean? You're gonna have the Pac fans that say he should have been number one. You're gonna have the Big fans say he's like Big should have been number one. You got people from that era that could have been Rakim or KRS. Anybody who's number one, no one's gonna be happy.
Right, but at some point, there should be like living legends and awardees, and then legends that have died and awardees, because Pac is my number one always and forever.
He's one,
but he's passed away, so we've got to recognize that there's other talent.
But then you're gonna have the old school people complain, the Rakims and the LL Cool J. Then you're gonna have them complaining that their music was the best. So you're never gonna have a happy answer when it comes to every time when it comes to the top MC, is always gonna be some controversy. And this
they
time,
should say top MC of that generation.
Yeah, or of the 90s or something like that. Who the best MC
right.
80s, best MC 90s, yeah, or the 2000s. I'll be fine with that, to put them on the gumbo pot. You're gonna have different eras. I mean, now you got these kids. They say Kendrick is their number one, or their Cole, or their Drake, or their Joey Badass.
I heard something about that. Okay, so now it's bringing me back, because Kendrick was part of that list also, right?
Yeah, Kendrick was like number 3 or something like that. That's when people lost their shit. Like, the fuck, he was like over Nas or something like that. He was up there. I think like they top 4.
So then it's a young millennial crowd that's really making the decisions.
Yeah. I mean, Pac was number 7, and I was pissed. I'm like, really? Over Kendrick? But it was like, whatever. I just stopped arguing with that already. I know in my happy world, Pac is always gonna be number 1. And if you know
Right.
game, you know game. I don't have to worry. I don't need a magazine to validate who's number 1. Most likely like some white hipster kid from Indiana who just like loves the culture and trying to say what's what. But
But you
with
know, the crazy part is it probably ain't some white boy. It's probably some, because you know, white boys, they be all at Wu-Tang Clan. They be at the Nas concerts.
yeah,
They be there.
yeah, yeah,
They recognize real. It's interesting.
yeah.
But so what happened with Mel?
So Mel, he had this interview. So the guy was like, "Oh, hey, what do you think about Eminem being number 1?" And he was like, "Man, look, listen, the guy could rap or the case would be, but the only reason why he's number 1 because he's white. He's white. It was white privilege. I mean, he could spit, but he's not. And the thing about him, Melly Mel was like number 48 or something like that. So I know he felt a certain way that he's 48. And I went to the event where I interviewed him, and they had
Mm-hmm.
a ceremony for the song he did the message. It was like a 30th, 40th anniversary or whatever. So they did a whole big
Yeah.
thing for him or whatever. And I mean, you when I hear Melly Mel, it's like you hear an uncle talk. It's like, you know what? Let him talk his shit. You know what? He been through it all. He been through it all. He been through enough. He paved the way. If he feel he's number 1 and he could beat all these motherfuckers, like let him rock. Let him rock. He
Right.
has the spirit of an MC that he's like, I don't give a fuck how old I am. I will whip anybody's ass here on this microphone. So it's like he's confident with his shit. But
Right.
he was talking this shit, and he was like, look, the only reason why he's number 1 because he's white. Can he spit? Yeah. Can he rhyme? Yeah. But look, what helped him is him being white. That was it. And that just helped like a whole mother load. And you saw like a divide because you have people like Chuck D and people from that generation defend him. So like, you know what? Let him speak his truth. Let him speak his facts. And then you had the other generation say like, you know what? He's number 1. He proved his point. Yeah, he might be white, but it's not also about being white. He's also very skillful on the mic. So it's been like a generational gap war going on with this little topic. But he was talking his shit.
Okay. Okay. So who their number one?
Eminem.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
And
I mean, if it wasn't for 8 Mile, nobody would have even known Eminem.
No, that's not true. But the thing about like I've been like, I'm a hip hop maniac, so I knew about Eminem. But remember, I got into an argument with somebody. Somebody blocked me over this damn argument because somebody
Ooh.
somebody who's like some fake woke person or whatever the case may be, like they just don't like Eminem. They think he's a culture vulture. He's this and the third. And
He said he was a culture vulture though in one of his songs.
yeah, but he's being sarcastic about it. He was being
But
sarcastic.
he was being honest about it. I want to
He
believe
was being
that he was
sarcastic. He
being
like, you know what?
honest
You guys
about
gonna
it.
accuse me of being that always. I'll take it. You know what I mean? And just do it selfishly. But
He said, here's a concept emerged. How many other white rappers uh, emerge and then make millions off of it? I forget how the whole lyrics went.
something to that effect. But
Right.
here was the marketing plan that Interscope did with Eminem. Like when he came, when like the trick was give people the single, but don't show his face. So when everybody heard his tape or whatever, they all thought he was a black dude. Even Dr. Dre, when Dr. Dre called his double, he thought he was a black dude. And then once they show his face, like, oh shit, he's white. So that's the it's Interscopes with Jimmy Iovine. So he's like an evil genius. He did the same thing with Little Nas X. I'm gonna do this little country road thing, but I'm not gonna like bring this marketing thing that he's gay because I know if he come out gay, especially within the black community, they ain't gonna rock with him. So let's give him this country song, let him rock with it.
Let's give him this country song.
And it worked. It worked. And then a month later, 2 months later, he came out and everybody like, whatever. But then the following year, he really went off his shit. It was like got extra feminine. That's when people had a problem with it. But
Because he went crazy.
he went crazy with it.
I don't know no female that's gonna slide down the pole and give the devil a lap dance.
A lap
That's
dance.
a little extra.
Yeah. So now he's just pushing the buttons. So that was the same thing what happened with M. So I mean, I know with M, it's a controversy, it's a motherload controversy because it's him and he's white. So you could take it all in a grain of salt. You either like him or you don't like him. You could respect his lyrical game, but you don't have to go through his albums.
He's got some good lyrical game, but when it comes to hip hop, right? And there's always the two categories, hip hop versus rappers,
Yeah,
right? Is he a hip hop or is he rapper? He's not pop, he's hip hop or he's rap. I would personally say he's not, he borderlines rapper, but he is more of a hip hopper
he's a
because
hip
he's
hop
very
head.
rhymey
He's a very hip hop. I mean,
versus like, but if you were to compare him, and maybe it's not right to compare him with Busta Rhymes, but like Busta Bus did a concert and he came out and yo, he was doing that like
yeah, the little fastity fast thing, whatever.
like that rapid rapping that he's able to do when he's got real words being
Yeah,
said. They're just fast and they're so lyrically well structured that it's almost like that's some crazy fucking talent right there.
yeah, of course, of course. And when you hear like you like, if you hear
I'm not
his
against Eminem, just
yeah,
so
if
we
you
all know.
hear his acceptance speech on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, like he was giving like shout outs to like from the most well-known like commercial rapper to like the most obscure like underground artist that I ain't even know who the hell was out there. I mean, he gave shout out to Ed OG. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
you know how often did he get his flowers outside of Boston, or if you're like an underground head, like he gave a shout out to Ed OG. He gave a shout out to some obscure rap group from Connecticut, and I was asking my boys like, "Yo, you heard of these group guys?" And like, "Yeah, I know them. They were supposed to. They were like the original. They came out like in 88, 89, but they were like the original Onyx. Like they were like
Oh,
this was like when it was not cool. They were talking about busting their guns and like committing murder and all this other stuff. Like, they were like gangster rap in Connecticut, but it wasn't marketable. And now they know them, and they're like, yeah, they're all living like productive, law-abiding citizen. So they're like, yo, and they know like, yo, what was going through in '88? He was like, I was just in the wrong path of my life. I was angry. I was
he's
just angry.
angry.
I'm a man
He's
of God now.
angry. Yeah, 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 yeah.
But that's what happened, man. So um okay, so one thing I always noticed with you, you always give back to the community, you know, whether it's on a credit level or just like, you know, you're doing beauty pageant contests for the kids or just even regular model things for like, you know, teenagers. Like how important is it to try like, you know, give back to the community only not only on an entertainment level, but also just on an economic level, because you know us in the community, we still have a lot of learning to do when it comes to being, you know, financially literate and all this other stuff.
100. So, you know, a lot of people would say that I'm not relatable, right? Because
You
maybe
speak
how
so
I
well.
come
That's why you
across.
speak so well.
Right. I'm
You
just
speak so
not
proper.
relatable. Whatever. But I grew up in Dorchester, you know, I grew up in the hood. My family didn't have a lot of money. I grew up with my grandparents. Um, and at the end of the day, I recognize what people in the community are going through. And I also recognize that now that I have this knowledge, it's part of, you know, the five percenters. It's part of what you're supposed to do is give back some of this knowledge. And why not, right? Because at the end of the day, some people are going to take that knowledge and keep it for themselves. Some people are going to take that knowledge and utilize it, and some people are going to take that knowledge and just try to share it with other people even though they're not using it for themselves. So it's important to really funnel as much back into the community as you can. You know, I actually really like that there are artists out there that will give back to the community without saying, yo, I gave back to the community. I came out and did this. I came out and did that. Because it doesn't matter who you are, but the fact that you're giving back to a community that is disenfranchised, right? That is at the pinnacle of always needing resources. And why isn't financial resources one of the things that's being taught, right? These kids out here, they want to be rappers. And if they even make some money to get into the rap game and make some money from that rap game, they don't realize that the 100,000 that you just made, if you're about to go blow that, you're broke all over again. And how do you take that money and actually invest it? And what do you invest in? And if you are a rapper or a singer, how do you make yourself a legitimate business so that people can pay you and pay you in invoices, which is income that's meant to be received, you know, royalties and different things like that. So really understanding that the community needs business knowledge, needs financial knowledge, so that they can continue to level themselves up. I would personally say that the 1% are only the 1% because they've got persistence and they have a desire to stay there, right? They want to be up at that 1%. But oftentimes, people that are not in that 1% or are coming from low income communities, I come from low income communities. You can pull yourself up. It's not easy, but it's something that you can do. You
Yeah.
look for mentors, you look for people that have it, because people that have it are always willing to share it with the right person that's serious about wanting to learn it. So, I think it's just it's part of being from the community to give back to the community.
And I always admire and respect that about you, because I've been doing my part for the community here in Lawrence whenever I can. I'm going to do something, I'll tell you later behind the scenes, but I got a call to do something real major for the community, which it was something I did not expect. But it's one of those things when you don't think people are watching you, people are really, really watching you.
Right.
Just off
And
the
shout
fact.
out to you and the work that you've been doing to bring awareness to everything going on in Cuba, because that is so important. I apologize. I know my phone's gonna potentially kick us off pretty soon. I got
I'm about to wrap
calls
it up
and
soon, but
meetings coming through, so I apologize.
no worries, no
But
worries.
I think it's dope that you are bringing attention to what's going on in Cuba to your platform. And I think it's all about like us really utilizing our platforms to um, bring awareness in a positive way to
Yes.
what we can.
Most definitely. And it's so weird because I remember in high school I used to be like the super uber duper righteous, right fist in the air, either that or just trying to like bring together with blacks and white and whatever the case may be. Now I'm on another page in my life where I have to bring awareness to like an island where my parents came from, and now you have to realize all the hell and sacrifice it all went through to like bring me here and have a better life.
Right.
And I've learned not to take that for granted. And
Mm-hmm.
I got to do my part to spread the message and spread the word around. And thanks to this thing called social media, having friends like yourself, giving me a platform in your show, even though we kind of share it, even though it's more yours, it's like a 90-10 kind of thing going on in your area. But
You
anytime,
always ask for more time. Can I get more time?
yeah,
Just
man,
get me on the show. How about that?
I got so you gave me those 2 more minutes and you let me rock, man, and greatly appreciate it. And I took a lot of notes from you. It all started from just me being a special guest, and then from there on, you just pulled me and be like, you know what, I could use this for a couple of things. Between using it and me pretty much asking, hey, if you need me for anything, so it was like
Right,
the
right.
powers combined as one. And then from there, we took it from radio to podcast. And now I'm doing the podcast. I got the radio, and now I got a show here called the Ruckus Podcast. And I'm able to get my sis, and I'm able to get her on my platform to ask her questions like it's her turn. But I got to teach it from you. So I greatly appreciate it, love.
That's what it's all about.
So before we wrap out of here, can you tell us about your real estate game?
Oh yeah. Real estate is it. You know, very simply said, when you rent, you're paying for somebody else's lifestyle. When you own, you're paying for your own. If you ever find yourself in financial situations, you can always sell your property and make some money. As a renter, you can't sell your apartment and make money. As an owner, you can rent out your ownership, rent out your unit and make some money. So just understanding that, the United States of America was built off of people coming over, acquiring
Yeah,
land from the
yeah, yeah,
natives
yeah.
and building their lives from that, right? So home ownership, property ownership is part of what created this land. And we all should have a piece of that because that's what your wealth is going to be kind of built off of. And that's how I see it. So yep, I'm always here. I'm always trying to get bro to get his credit in order so we can get
Hey,
you a
look,
piece of property.
yeah. Side note. I checked my credit, and I would look at every time I look at my credit, it's been going up, and not only has it gone up. There was this little thing of this college debt that I would own, and it went down to zero. So now I got a call to see if I passed it, because every time I saw it, it was like I owe X amount of dollars. But this week I saw it, and I said no. A couple of weeks ago I saw it, and it said zero. So if I get that zero, all right, we are back. So before we were wrapping up here, I was asking Boss Lady, about the real estate game and how's that working out for her.
Yeah, so I had mentioned that I feel like real estate is just a part of, the American dream, that piece of the pie. Everyone should have it. And real estate's been going really well. A lot of people are concerned that the rates are high. However, the rates are not stopping buyers from buying that are financially prepared to buy. So that's why financial education is so important. It's because you have to be financially prepared. No one should buy a house, 3 months after they try, unless they've already been preparing themselves financially for mortgage, for taking on home ownership. But the mortgage fear that a lot of people have is that they won't be able to get a mortgage, they won't be able to afford a mortgage. But banks are not going to give you a loan that you cannot afford based off of the numbers that you give them. You give them the documentation, you give them the amount that you have saved, you give them all of the information that they need to create what's called a pre-approval, so that you can go shopping and see what kind of house you might be able to find. But people are still out there buying, whether the rates were up. When they were down, there were a lot more buyers, but that's how they kind of quote unquote leveled or balanced what was going on in the economy, was by raising the rates on money being borrowed, right? Those the rates on a mortgage, the rates on your credit have gone up, like credit cards. So the way that they balance that is by increasing the rate, so that so many people are not able to get into certain arenas. But if your money is right, then the rates being up won't stop you from getting into those arenas. You just move different.
Yeah. All right.
So the buying real estate is still up. More and more people are getting into the investing side, even if they're not owning real estate. They're getting into the investing side of real estate, whether it's purchasing property in the same city or state that you live in, or out of state, or being a part of like investment groups. But it really is kind of the new hustle that a lot of people are getting into.
The new hustle. I love it.
The new hustle.
Everything about this, the new hustle. So basically, people, ownership. Learn to own your itish, so you can pass on to your family.
That's right. And even thinking in the simplest form, right? When you're looking to potentially be a homeowner, you want to look at the simplest form of finances and how do you start making yourself prepared. Do you own your cell phone, or are you making payments on your cell phone through your cell phone bill? Do you have a credit card? Is your credit card paid off? Do you still have a balance on your credit card? Are you overspent on your credit card? So different things like that. Do you own your car? Are you financing your car? Are you leasing your car? These things all matter when it comes to getting yourself financially stable, and then being able to look at, can I own property? Because anybody can get like a $20,000 car. If you got good credit, you can get a $20,000 car, but that's $20,000 on your debt for you to have a car that you could get a less expensive car, own that, have better credit, and be able to be more likely a homeowner than having, a luxury car. So it's also a vibe. Like, it's a way of thinking. Real estate is really a way of thinking, because you start to realize that stuff that you would normally spend money on, like it's not worth it.
Spending on frivolous things.
Mhm.
All right, all right. Well, I mean, Brit, thank you for putting me up on game on this real estate thing that you just brought up. And
Yes, sir.
overall, thank you for everything. You put me up on game with everything with this media game, just try to like, do things and own it. You know what I mean? You told me how to take charge, boss style.
That's
And I
right. Level
really
up.
appreciate for all the games you done put me onto, and before we get out of here, can you give us, where we can find you at? Real
Yes.
estate, all your business upon businesses upon businesses.
Absolutely. So you can always find me on all social medias um, under Boss Lady News. You can even you could Google hashtag Boss Lady News and you can find me. You can find me on YouTube. I haven't been doing as much YouTubing, but you can find me on YouTube, Boss Lady News. You might want to include Boston, but Boss Lady News. And then you can always reach out to me. My email, bossladynews@gmail.com. You know, it's all about branding. So
Yes.
everything's Boss Lady News. And yeah, just hit me up. If anybody wants to reach out, if anyone wants to learn more about leveling up their businesses, if they want to learn more about leveling up their finances, you can just hit me up and we can schedule a meeting.
And there you have it. Boss Lady, Brit, thank you for everything. This has been the Ruckus Podcast. It's your boy Cuban Mike. You can catch me on 102.9 Tape Deck. You will catch me at Boss Lady News. What days are we doing? Saturdays or Sundays now or Fridays? What day are they holding us hot? Are we doing a show? No, they keep
For
changing our
Boss
damn
Lady
schedule.
News,
When the hell are they
yeah,
putting us on now?
they do. So it really is. It's oh, it's interesting. But soon as I know for sure, I will be able to give y'all like a set schedule. Right now, we used to be every Friday at 6 p.m. You still can even find our episodes. So you can still go to Boston Neighborhood Network. You can go under Boss Lady News, under the TV guide. So you can still find our episodes. And you can even still watch our shows, more likely Fridays at 6 or Saturdays at 3. You can see me and Cuban Mike and any of our guests.
Yeah.
But until we get another regularly scheduled, that's what we got for you.
Yeah, yeah, be in and get your act together.
All
All right, man. This has been the Broncos podcast. This is boy Keeper Mike. And yeah, man, enjoy this good game we're giving y'all here, man. Boss up and level up, y'all. I catch y'all to the next episode. One love, man. Peace.
Peace.